Hello, this is WUPX 91.5 FM HD1 Marquette. This is the Jack and Dom radio show. Just want to let everyone know that the opinions said on the show do not represent the opinions of this radio station or the university. And if you so choose, you're able to get the recording of the show where you find your podcasts, whether it be on Amazon Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Also, let everyone know we are on social media, so if you so choose, you can currently find us on Twitter and Facebook. Just look up the Jack and Dom radio show. If there are any particular topics you would like us to talk about, definitely let us know, either by direct message or you can comment one of our posts there, and we can definitely get to it and potentially talk about it. That being said, good afternoon, everyone. I do want to let everyone know that Jack is running a little late today. He is currently in the process of finding parking due to the unexpected, at least to us, a major event is going on in the Northern Center. I believe it has to do with some kind of educational conference that has completely taken up parking, not just in the front parking space in the Northern Center and the rear parking space in the Northern Center, but also I believe the Cohodes parking is, taken, as well as the Catholic Church that is across the street is completely full. That is how packed the parking is. So, to my knowledge, Jack is, at least he has anticipated great difficulty in finding a parking spot and getting here, but he will be with us at least later in the show. A lot of things to talk about. And do want to let everyone know that on October 27th at 1 p.m., we will have two special guests, Jake Durant and Tor Thorne. They are two local sports journalists that work for My UP News. For those who don't know, that would be the ABC station. I believe ABC 3 or Channel 3. They usually do sports segments, a lot of high school sports coverage, local high school sports coverage, especially in the Upper Peninsula. If you ever go to any high school games around in the UP, you might see them record highlights, and then we get to talk about it. But that's their general primary job. They generally just do sports news, but they don't really do any sports opinions. So if you have ever been curious about their sports opinion regarding maybe NMU football or high school sports, things like that, this will definitely be a good opportunity to listen to what they have to say. I've already talked to them about some stuff that we might talk about, and there are already some disagreements between us and them in regards to a lot of the things that we talk about here. So definitely listen in. Remember, October 27th at 1 p.m. Or if you can't catch us at that time, we will definitely have a recording of that on our podcast. Like I said, wherever you find your podcasts, that's where it will be. Another topic that we'll probably talk about later in the show once Jack arrives. I recently released a new Substack article. It has gotten some buzz amongst some people here around Northern. It's called my article is titled "Potential NCAA D3 Coaches to Replace Northern Michigan's Head Football Coach." It's where I list 10 D3 coaches that could potentially be our next head football coach. Essentially, at least for me personally, I have gotten to the point where I am tired of talking about the football program. We are now at 28 game losing streak, another school record, and I believe we are still second active D2 losing streak. I believe that goes to West Virginia Wesleyan University. I think they're at 30. So if they win a game, which is unlikely, but if they do win a game, then it's on us. So that is where we're at, given what happened with the Grand Valley game, 35-7 loss against number 8 Grand Valley. I was at the game. I was primarily working with my TV station to record highlights. So that was always fun, as always. But it was 7-7 in the half. We all had hope. Again, we had a glimmer of hope. And even a glimmer of hope from the jersey retirement that was done. Number 18, Steve Mariucci. I actually got to get a picture with him. I thought that was very nice. Obviously seemed like a very big celebrity. And in his jersey retirement, I believe it looked like about 30, 35, 40 players showed up, as well as those who maybe a player who has since passed away or couldn't be there, but a family member could be there to represent them was also there, as well as the coach. The coach was there. Seemed like he's hanging on with a walker, but he was there. He was happy. He was energetic. And Steve Mariucci got to have a speech where, he talked about his experience, his team, but he also told everybody that whenever you show up to the Superior Dome and you look up and you look at that jersey, that you remember that team, that jersey represents a team where in 74, they lose all their games. And then 75, they turn it around and win the national championship. And something like that has never been done before in any league, in any division, in any conference ever, where you have such a turnaround. So if you feel like you're in the lowest of lows, you can get to the highest of highs. And I thought that was very special, that he got to do that. So yeah, if you ever go to not Northern Center, that's where I'm at. But if you ever get to go to the Superior Dome, definitely take a look. Definitely take a look at that. The retired number of Steve Mariucci. I thought that was pretty nice. But back to the my Substack article. I do have my list of the top 10 top 10. I think there are good runner-ups because I did share this article to a few people, and some of them offer some other suggestions from other coaches, and so it's definitely caused a buzz. But my grandpa would always tell me, especially when I was younger, that if you're going to complain about something big, if you're going to complain about something big like this, you better be able to offer a solution to the problem. And so I feel like it's gotten to the point where, like I said, I am tired of talking about the football program in regards to the coaches and the players losing 28 games in a row. And I am going to start to transition to, all right, what's our future? Because it's depressing. It is honestly depressing. It is essentially, think of it as our football program being in the dark ages for the last maybe 20, 25, 30 years. And now we're in the bubonic plague. So essentially 1/3 of Europe is dead. That's where we're at right now. Speaking of dead, Jack is here. Hey, Jack, how you doing?
Hello, everybody. Situation of campus parking continues to be a disaster.
But you were able to find a parking spot, right?
Very far away.
Okay, good. I was just talking about our two special guests that will show up, as well as the article that I recently released, and our football team losing again.
I was once again there.
Yes.
Woohoo.
What if you want to talk about the football game? What's your take?
Well, they played good in the first half, and then I don't know what Shane says in the locker room, but whatever he says, they collapse in the second half, and pretty much every home game right on cue.
I think Grand Valley forgot to bring the belt, and then someone brought a belt, and then you started using it.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree, but I don't know what they say in the locker room. It just looks like as soon as Grand Valley took the lead, they were deflated and just weren't the same after that. I want to say they threw another 3 interceptions, and they're really...
And a fumble. There were some fumbles, too.
I mean, they threw us some screen passes. Like, I guess we finally remembered that you can throw the ball, but the forward pass still doesn't exist in this offense. Yeah, I mean, it was rough.
I want to talk about something a little positive, though. Steve Mariucci's
that was awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Mariucci deserves it. Legend for our team. The only team in any sport ever at any level to go from 0 wins to a national championship.
Yes. Very special.
I believe they're making a documentary movie on that team.
Yes, I heard something about that.
So that'll be exciting when it comes out. Mariucci's jersey retirement was really cool. Him and Tom Izzo are very close. I believe Tom Izzo was here for parts of the week.
They are both from Iron Mountain. I learned that because I had to go to Iron Mountain to buy something off Facebook Marketplace, a portable dishwasher. Mm-hmm. That's beside the point, though. I drive into Iron Mountain, and then the welcome sign says, "Welcome Iron Mountain, home of Tom Izzo and Steve Mariucci." I thought that was very cool.
Yeah.
They also have a Home Depot over there.
It's pretty awesome, though, that we've got those two guys as alums from the local area. Both have gotten their jersey retired in the past 2 years.
Yep.
Well-deserved, very, very impactful for us. And then when they moved on to to MSU and the 49ers, respectively. Certainly a big deal. They're very, very important in campus life, and I expect that at some point in the future, if Robert Saleh gets another head coaching job, he'll be next in line for a jersey retirement. Former All-American tight end for us in the late 90s. That was exciting. I think that was really the only highlight of the game.
The thing, though, I do want to talk about, and the crux of, I guess, the point of, because I briefly touched upon my Substack article that I released recently.
Yes.
It's already getting some buzz because I did send it to a few people in the sports department, not directly to the players and coaches, but people that I'm closer to. And they like it. They actually like it. They've offered some other some other coach ideas, things like that. But basically the crux of it all is, for me personally, I am done talking about the football team. As in the present. I want to talk about the future. I want to talk about the potential future, where this could go. I want to start the conversation now on any potential future coaches. I know that when I initially sent the article to you, one of the things you talked about was the potential chance of having these coaches come in, because you do have a good point in regards to that it's easier said than done. I agree with you. It's easier said than done to get a really good D3 coach, a good coach that's established, into a failing program. It's going to take a lot to take someone that's good into a bad environment. And so that's why when I was doing my research, I wanted to look for coaches that are used to going into an environment that's broken and being a fixer-upper.
Yeah, and I mean, I like what you wrote, and I think we should focus on a couple.
And I wanted to get some coordinators in there too.
Yeah,
because I think it's easier to get a
lot.
coordinator.
I think Junior Collins would be an excellent hire. The current offensive coordinator at Mount Union has been an NFL and CFL assistant, and now an offensive coordinator there. That's a pretty realistic one, I think. If you want to get a head coach with some winning experience, you've got Ryan Larson from Carnegie Mellon. And I think the third one that I really think you could potentially get is going to be Chris Winter from Wartburg College. More of a defensive guy, but I think your best
48-7 though as a head coach, so I thought that was that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But I think your best bet is to get an offensive mind in head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think an offensive coordinator in D3 is a good choice. I think Junior Collins would be probably the strongest one.
But I think also to keep in mind with some of these coaches that even they're good defensive minds is that the people that they work with that they'll probably bring with them are also like really good on offense and defense on both sides of the ball. And so if you get a head coach like Tyler Stecker of Co-College, who is more of a defensive guy, but he might bring or might know some good offensive people that bring with him.
Yeah, I think the big thing here is it's hard for us to know who they're going to get. They just have to get somebody that has a winning culture at the D3 level.
Yes.
If you look at Shane's record prior to NMU, he had a couple of good seasons, but overall he didn't do that great.
Mm-hmm.
And he got fired from a Division III job for not doing well enough. So I think the key here is you've got to get someone that is involved in a winning culture. It doesn't even have to be the one that built the winning culture. Like, you can get someone from a winning program, as a coordinator, like the guy from Mount Union. Yeah. But you have to get someone that knows how to win. And someone that knows how to run an offense that's not stuck in the 1800s.
And I broke it down for like when it comes to projected impact. One of the four things that we need the most: immediate culture reset.
Yes.
Modern competitive offense.
Yes.
Upgraded defense and effort standards.
Yes, but I don't know if that's in the top four.
Sustained player development and recruiting.
That yes.
And I think these coaches, sure, one coach might have like a certain.
I think
person might have more strength in one area,
but that's about it.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that a particular coach might stand out in one of these 4 points, but still has
right. You've got to get somebody that can do all
qualities.
Four.
Yeah, good qualities in other areas. I think the most
interesting part is I was at a economics dinner and I was talking to a guy whose son plays for Marquette High, and he was telling me that for whatever reason under Shane, NMU refuses to recruit local players. Tech does an extremely good job of recruiting guys out of Houghton, but NMU does a very poor job of keeping talent in the UP Yeah. I understand that the UP is not a footballing hotbed like downstate.
Well, they're transferring people in and out.
Right. You should be able to keep the talent in the UP.
Yeah.
You can recruit from Houghton, from Iron Mountain, wherever, but I'm told that they really haven't done a good job of recruiting there. They're going to Florida and other places, which, that's fine. There's a lot of talent there, but you've got to make sure that you get the local guys. Even Michigan has recruited a number of guys from, near my hometown, and State does a good job of recruiting out of East Lansing. I know those are much more marquee programs than we are, but, a lot of the good teams do a good job of recruiting out of their local area because it's guys that know the culture, they know the team. So I think when you talk about getting and retaining talent, it's important to get talent from where you are. Not that I'm not saying go around the country and get talent. That's all good. If you look at the soccer teams, we've got talent from across the world, and that served them pretty well. But you can't forget about the UP when you're doing those things. Tech has done a very good job of recruiting out of Houghton, even sometimes out of Marquette. And obviously they built a much better program over there than we have here. And I believe they upset Davenport this week. So they're in much better shape than we are, obviously. But I think culture comes first. You kind of see as soon as this team loses a lead, they get deflated because the play calling doesn't change.
Exactly.
When you're playing from behind, you've got to start throwing it. You've got to start play actioning it. You can't keep running it.
You got to up tempo.
Every single game, it gets predictable. Defenses adjust. They stack the box. And it makes it really hard.
That's what Grand Valley did.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what every other team that's beat us has done. Is you can stack the box because you know they can't beat you up top. Sure, they can throw a screen pass, but you just need one or two guys out wide. You don't need a safety. You can put your safety and even your nickel corner directly in the box.
Play man.
Put your big guys in and just stuff them up because it's basically running goal line defense every play and you're fine. And that's a problem. I don't understand why they didn't make more of an adjustment in the offseason like they said they would. Whether you fire the coordinator or have them change the offense, it's the same old, same old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure, you're averaging 200 yards on the ground. That's nice, but you're averaging 15 points per game. It's not getting it done. You've got to find somebody that, really, the teams that are really elite run offenses and defenses that are unpredictable.
Keeping you honest. It
keeps
the defense honest.
The biggest thing that they do is they adjust when things aren't working.
Yep.
And we'll talk about Michigan in a little bit, and we'll talk about why I'm frustrated as a Michigan fan and why I think you should be frustrated as a State fan, respectively, because neither of our teams are doing that right now. And I would argue even the Lions last night had a similar problem, where
I turned off the game halfway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, me too. I think I turned it off before the fourth, honestly.
Yeah.
But the elite coaches and the elite teams, they adjust to what they're seeing. They have backup plans. You don't necessarily have to do trick plays, but you shift the offense. If you see that running the ball is not working, especially in the second half it didn't work, that's when you open up the play action game. That's when you throw screen to the outside, get people in open space. With this team, they're going to run almost every play. You maybe throw in a screen every now and again, but almost every downfield pass is intercepted or widely incomplete by 10+ yards. When I'm telling our stats guy to put in the stats, I go, well, I think it was intended for this yard line, but I don't know because it was so far off.
Yeah.
The receiver will be at the 30 and the throw will be at the 50. I'm you can't be that far off. And I get it. We recruited quarterbacks that are here to run the ball. And that's fine and good. But you can't be that one-dimensional. The read option offense works at its best when you can hit them with the play action. Or when you run triple option or jet sweeps. Army had a lot of wrinkles to that offense. Other teams that run read option offenses, the Ravens don't really want a read option offense, but when you have Lamar in there, you've got options. Lamar is primarily a runner, I would argue, that is his best skill. Not that he's a bad passer, stop the Lamar as a running back, but Lamar is a running quarterback. Mm-hmm. But you can run it with Lamar, you can hand it off to Derrick Henry and he'll shred the defense, or you've got guys like Rashad Bateman where you can beat them over the top. Now, obviously, this year the offense has been a disaster, and that team overall has been a disaster, and it's not working.
Yeah.
But when that offense works, you've got Lamar, Derrick Henry, or a throw. So 3 very different types of plays that you can incorporate into that offense.
And it's hard to cover all at the same time. If you start
stacking the box to stop Derrick Henry, they beat you over the top. The Lions do the same thing. If you stack the box to beat Jahmyr Gibbs, Waymo is going to hit you deep. Right? They adjust. They have different types. They have an offense that they want to run, but ultimately they can divert from that offense and run things differently. They may not be as comfortable, but they can divert. NMU is stuck. They can't get away from the run because they don't have anyone that can throw it downfield. Maybe Horde comes back towards the end of the season and can do it. I don't know. He was the emergency quarterback last night, so it's possible that he comes back in a week or two. But I don't know. I think a full cultural reset is needed. I think really the only star players that you've got on this team, I think Woods at running back is pretty solid. We've got a couple okay offensive linemen. Jack Sertel, obviously pretty good, and Mitch Larkin also. But other than that, you don't really have a lot of talent on this team.
Because they keep transferring.
And maybe we do have the talent, but it's not being unlocked by the coaching staff. And so you need I think even above a good play caller, above a winner, I think you need someone that knows how to develop players.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the number one thing. We really have not been able to develop players at all. And the ones that we do develop leave, because why would you want to stay with a program that loses every game and doesn't let you do your thing?
I have a friend who left for that very reason.
It's a big deal, and I think you've got to get somebody that can develop. Because if you're losing and you're being developed, you stay because you're being developed. But if you lose and you're not being developed, then there's no reason for you to stay.
So just so I have on the record here, because for people who are listening in now or people listening in on the podcast, just so I have it on the record, here is my list of 10 potential coaches. Junior Collins, current offensive coordinator of Mount Union. Ryan Cortez, current defensive coordinator of Wisconsin Whitewater. Pat Ruley, head coach of Roland University. Ryan Larson, head coach of Carnegie Mellon. Nate Maline, head coach of Muhlenberg College. Jeff McMartin, head coach of Central College, Iowa. Tyler Stacker, head coach of Coe College. Brad Spencer, head coach of North Central College, which, by the way, has a regular season career of 48-1,
which is crazy.
And like the other losses that he had are in postseason, like deep in postseason. Yeah. Steve Bell, head coach of Augustana College, which had a historic turnaround at Monmouth College. Previous job, but is studying Augustana.
Some good options.
So there are good options out there.
Speaking of options, though, I want to touch on, I called it the triple S when we were talking before the show.
Triple S.
However, recent news broke that James Franklin is also out at Penn State after losing to UCLA and Northwestern and now being 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that was
I want to go. We'll talk about the coach that's been fired first, and then I want to talk about the two coaches in our respective franchise college teams where the fan bases are calling for their heads. And I think rightfully so.
So right when we do that, because we are at the bottom of the hour, for those who are just joining us, this is WUPX 91.5 FM HD1 Marquette. This is the Jack and Dom radio show. So, go right ahead.
All right. We'll talk about Penn State first because the firing has happened. We are very much in the coaching carousel. Yes. I think Curt Cignetti is not going to leave for Penn State. I don't think Matt Rhule leaves. So that leaves your options with Matt Campbell, Iowa State, Manny Diaz, Duke, John Sumrall, Tulane, Brent Key, Georgia Tech, Mike Elko, Texas A&M. I don't think he leaves either. Alex Golesh, South Florida. Fran Brown at Syracuse are some of the main candidates for that position. I think it's going to be between Southern Florida's head coach of Alex Golesh. They are currently 5-1 this season. Mm-hmm. He inherited a 1-win USF team. They've made bowl games in both of his 2 years, developed them into one of the best non-Power 5 teams. And I think the other option is going to be Manny Diaz, former defensive coordinator at Penn State, took over at Duke. Duke is now 13-6 after being 9-4 last season. For Duke football, that's a pretty big deal. I don't know if you'd want to get him because he was a former coach under James Franklin, but it's an option. And I think Matt Campbell always announced that he's going to leave, never does. But I think potentially maybe Penn State is a job that makes it happen.
Sure.
So we'll keep an eye on the Penn State coaching search in the offseason. But I think the more local one and the one that I think a lot of other people in this area are looking at is what happened to both Michigan and Michigan State over the weekend.
Yeah.
We of course have a very strong rivalry, but you can take one of those memes where it's like two people that really don't like each other and they're like hugging because they're going through an equally difficult time. I think that's where we're at right now.
It's like, it is, I don't like the little brother, big brother thing, but it is that dynamic where if you pick on your sibling, it's okay kind of thing.
Yeah.
But once someone else picks on your sibling, then it's war.
I don't know about
it's a little bit like that.
We like when the other team loses, but I think this is the first time in a while where both teams are both this bad.
Yeah. Well, there was the COVID year, but I don't know
we're
if
not going to count the COVID year. That's
year.
not a full season. And
Okay.
Jim was still at Michigan with the potential to turn it around, and we eventually did. Obviously, won the championship.
Sure, that's fair.
You got Mel Tucker, so you had a good run there.
Well, he was Tuck coming, but now he's Tuck missing.
But
we still don't know where he is.
So here's kind of where I'm at. Is like I, as a Michigan fan, feel bad right now for both fan bases because we are both forced to accept mediocrity without an alternative. Michigan State's Jonathan Smith, I believe, is sitting at 8-10. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
That sounds about right.
Now.
8-9 or 8-10.
They look worse, in my opinion, than they did last year, especially after that UCLA game. You really didn't score a second touchdown until garbage time. You looked awful. I understand that UCLA is having a resurgence, but you got played out of your own building by UCLA.
Yeah. I've seen TikToks of Michigan State students. The vibe was gone.
It was awful.
The vibe was gone.
And, a lot of people have called for his head already, and normally I'm not one to call for a coach's head in year 2, unless you're Shane Richardson and you haven't won a game, in which case I
and you lose to a mid D3 school, cough, cough, Alma, cough, cough.
But, I think it's fair for Michigan State fans to call for his head because Childs looked amateur out there. He looks worse with every passing game. You put in your backup quarterback, and I know it was garbage time, but he looked infinitesimally better. He threw several bullet passes into coverage on target. Childs missed consistently. It's not a good look. Your defense is paper.
Yeah.
It really is. UCLA moved the ball with ease. You made Nico Iamaleava look like a Heisman candidate against your defense. And your program really has no direction right now. There is zero reason for your star receiver to stay, or Childs, or anybody else.
Yeah.
Because you're at a point now with that loss to UCLA.
We're throwing in our initial backup quarterback.
Well, but you're at a point where he got hurt, Childs did, so that's why he came in. But he looked better than Childs. But you're at a point where if you're not careful and you drop a game against like Northwestern or Minnesota, you are actually going to miss a bowl game.
Yeah. There's that risk now.
And am I unhappy about Michigan? Absolutely. But we're not in that position. As a State fan, you got to be livid. And here's the additional problem. His buyout is like 30 or 40 million.
Same with James Franklin.
Well, Franklin's was 56, and Penn State bit the bullet. The thing is, Penn State's a much bigger school than you are.
That is true.
They've got multiple large satellite campuses.
That's true. That's
the overall student body is much bigger than yours. The athletic budgets are not that much different, but Penn State invests almost all.
I thought Ohio State had more undergrad.
I'm just talking about Penn State versus Michigan State.
Okay.
They invest almost all their funding though in football versus you guys obviously diversified a lot more in hockey, basketball, and other sports. So they've got more to work with than you do. And I'm pretty sure they got a big donation to get Franklin the heck out of there. But you're sitting at a $30+ million buyout that I don't think Michigan State's going to bite on. So you may be stuck with him for another year. So your program is trending in the wrong direction. Michigan, I didn't like the Sharon Moore hire at all at first. Even beating Michigan and Alabama or Ohio State and Alabama last year, I was still unimpressed. I wasn't going to fire him after 1 year. But now you're sitting at 4-2. You got steamrolled by USC. We're supposedly strong.
Which are now ranked, by the way.
Yeah, and they should be. We're supposedly supposed to win in the trenches, but we've lost in the trenches in pretty much every game. And the games we've won despite losing in the trenches. We have Washington coming up. I don't care what the sports books say. We're not going to win that game. So we'll be 4-3 by the end of this week. Michigan State will probably also be 4-3. I forget who you're playing. If it's Indiana, you're definitely not.
No. They're number what? They're number 5, number 3 in the
which
country.
Which I believe is the highest ranking they've ever had.
Yes, ever.
In the AP poll, I think in the AP poll era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Michigan plays Washington. We are not winning that game. We'll beat State, Purdue, Northwestern, no problem. I know you're biased, but stop.
I am biased.
To be fair, I think we're actually...
Here's what I think about Michigan State right now. If John Smith loses to Michigan, that's it. That's it for me.
Fair. I mean, he'll lose
If
to Michigan.
he beats Michigan, he
Well, of
saves
course.
his job.
That's what Sharon Moore did last
He
year.
saves his job.
I agree. Okay,
That's
but
it.
let's go with the teams that I think we're going to beat.
Straight
So
up.
we lose to Washington. We sit at 4-3. We beat you. You can disagree 5, but I think we'll beat you 5-3. And I think most Michigan State fans will agree with the state your program is in. I know you have biases. I understand that. But realistically, on paper, we win that game. 5-3. Purdue 6-3. Northwestern 7-3. I think we lose to Maryland 7-4. Lose to Ohio State 7-5. That to me is a fireable offense. Not losing to Ohio State, but being 8-5 last year, and we'll probably finish 8-5 again this year. That to me, with the number 1 quarterback, with one of the best running backs in the country, with talent on the defensive side, with the top 10 recruiting class, that to me is a fireable offense. Now, our athletic director will keep him for year 3, so I'm going to tune out Michigan football altogether next year. But for Michigan, that's simply not good enough. 8-5 is not going to cut it. Maybe you beat Maryland 9-4. That's still not enough. You got to go at least 10-2 in the regular season, which means you'd have to run the table here. 9-3 at the very worst, and I realistically don't see that at all. In MSU football's case, the expectations are lower because you're rebuilding, obviously, and you've struggled.
Yes.
But you're now at the point where you're going
the
to lose.
days of Mark D'Antonio are over.
Right. You are going to lose to Indiana, no doubt in my mind. Which puts
probably
you,
by 20 to 30 points.
Yeah, 30 points, absolutely.
I take the plus.
For sure. So that would put you. That's going to put you at 3-4. You're going to be 0-4 in Big Ten play.
Yep, which is going to stink.
Unless you upset us, you're going to be 3-5, 0-5 in Big Ten play.
Yep.
I can't believe I'm saying this. I know I'm biased, but I don't trust you to beat Minnesota either.
I have doubts.
So that puts you at 3-6, 0-6 in the Big Ten.
I know.
Penn State will rebound without James Franklin. You're going to be 3-7, 0-7.
Yeah.
No shot you'll beat Iowa. That defense is going to tear you to shreds.
Yeah.
So you're 3-8, 0-8, 4-7, 1-7 at best. You're not beating
the worst
Maryland.
case scenario is...
So you could easily not win a single game in the Big Ten.
I know.
And your best case scenario, if you pull off a miracle against either Michigan or Penn State and beat Minnesota and Maryland, you're still only going to get 6 wins. So you are about to miss a bowl game. And I think that's a fireable offense. I don't think losing to Michigan is, but I think you missing a bowl game is too much. And I think us having another 8-win season is unacceptable. So I think both of us are going to do the foolish thing and keep our coaches, and you and me can talk next year and cry on the show.
Yeah, because of the buyout, because of the contract buyout.
No, our buyout is low. For Michigan, it's only like 15, 20 million, which for Michigan is not a problem.
Okay, yeah.
So the buyout's not the problem.
State, though,
it's that we're too patient with our coaches. It was the same way with Juwan Howard. He should have been gone a year before he was. They kept him because he's a Michigan guy. They'll keep more.
Michigan
he's a hardball guy.
Yeah.
So the problem with Michigan State is money. The problem with Michigan is we have too much patience. I think both of us keep our coaches. I think both of us limp again next year. So, not much to look forward to in the college world. I don't think Bryce or Aiden Childs, both of whom I think are very talented, can be unlocked with the coaches that they have.
Yeah.
All right, let's pivot back to NMU. So women's soccer drops the rivalry game to Tech 1-0.
Yep.
Men's soccer ties Davenport 1-1. They both have decent start to the season. They're both sitting about 3rd, 4th place in the GLIAC, but they're going to need some critical points in upcoming matches in order to move up the standings and get hopefully a home playoff game in the first round. Men's hockey drops both games to Ohio State. However, if I'm not mistaken, they were only down a goal in this game before the empty netter. So certainly very competitive. Game 1, not the same story. Grammy got pulled.
Yeah.
Probably is exhausted from that that darn 100 save performance against UMass. But they put up a fight against both these ranked teams, and I really would not be surprised if we could pull off an upset against Colorado College or even Michigan State, because they haven't looked that good to start the season, and we played them quite well last year when they were number 1. So we'll see what happens. I think we'll talk more, especially since I will be at the Colorado College games, and I can comment more on what I'm seeing, especially from my eye in the sky, and a lot of what a lot of the fans on the ground cannot necessarily see.
I think that's a perfect job for you, considering that if this is like that, if this show is like a way to decompress all that.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
It's so hard. Like, it's nice to be able to see the game and then comment.
You'd be the eye in the sky and back here on Earth.
I get to see some really cool stuff, especially from involved, and I can hear a lot of different things, especially from the coaching staffs. But it is so frustrating to watch that football team every week, man.
I know.
It's hard to do.
That's
excited for hockey season.
That's why I'm transitioning to the future. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm excited for hockey season. I think that'll be much better. Women's volleyball beats Purdue Northwest 3-1 and Tech 3-2 in the rivalry game. 6 in a row. Team that was winless to start the season has gone on almost winless. They won 1.
We were 1-8, and then now we got 6
practically
wins
winless to start the season. They're on a hot streak. Can they continue that through the rest of the GLAC season into the tournament? That is to be.
That reminds me of the movie Space Jam, the original Space Jam. I love that movie. Michael Jordan, Looney Tunes, at halftime.
That's true. They do.
They have what's called Michael's secret stuff.
Yeah, but they make the comeback,
which is really just water because everyone's dehydrated. And they make the comeback. That's what happened. The coach did something. But here's the thing, they did something to the. Am I spitting on you? I'm sorry.
No. But back to NMU
they
football,
did something.
That's what they don't do.
They did the opposite.
You got to have a halftime speech that really gets the team going. And, I think with every passing game, you see less heart and soul in that team because they just know what's going to happen. You see Grand Valley like doing cartwheels and like doing fun stuff out there pregame, and NMU just doesn't have the same energy. And why would you? Because you were going into a game that you know you're going to lose in front of your home fans. It's tough. But I'm really proud of the volleyball team. They've looked really good the past couple of weeks, and so obviously we hope that can continue. Hopefully they get a run going into the GLAC tournament. Speaking of a run, the Tigers sure didn't get one. That's where you're supposed to laugh. That was a good one. Come on.
I mean, I watched that game.
That was a fun
and
show.
That was tense to the very end.
It was heartbreaking. Though. I stayed up till 1:15 for that with class at 9 a.m. in the morning. That sucked.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking. Scuba gives you his best game, and you pull him after 6. I don't care how many pitches he had. Justin Verlander would have stayed in that game. He would have told the manager to go away using a specific F word. And he would have gone back in there for inning number 7. 100 pitches, 120, doesn't matter. And he would have shut him down. Mm-hmm. And whether Scuba agreed to get pulled or whether Scuba wanted to get pulled or whether Hitch forced him to get pulled, doesn't matter. That is what lost you the game. Not the runners, because if Scuba would have gotten you out of that inning with no runs, and I think he would have, I think he could have gone one more inning, because he was dominant. He had 13 strikeouts again. Barely any hits. He would have got us out of that inning. And from there, the pitching was dominant until the 15th inning. As soon as Canal walked in, by the way, I knew we'd lost. But that's what lost you the game, was that poor pitching decision. Yeah, sure, it would have been nice to get a run in the next 8 innings. But you knew that the Tigers' offense was going to struggle. And you benched your ace, and that cost you the game. It cost you the series. And I think it's going to ultimately cost you Tariq Skubal when you're forced to trade him when ownership refuses to pay them. I'd love to go to a Tigers game, but I refuse to support ownership that does this. Mm-hmm. I can't. They don't pay anybody. When Skubal is off the books, not counting Javi Baez, one of the most overpaid players in the majors, I'd say the most overpaid player. Take him out of the equation, you're sitting at bottom 5 in salary. Bottom 5. The only other team with a low payroll to make the playoffs is the Milwaukee Brewers. And don't you dare tell me that our roster is anywhere as good as the Milwaukee Brewers. Because it's not.
I was going to say the Oakland A's, but...
Well, the A's are nowhere near the playoffs.
Historically.
And for good reason.
For years ago.
Sure, but the A's were different.
Yeah. Moneyball. Love that movie.
Moneyball worked. That's not at all what the Tigers...
To a point.
That's not at all what the Tigers are running. Yeah. Ultimately, not a single guy that we traded for made any meaningful impact. I don't even think any of them played in the playoffs. So a waste of a trade deadline. You could have gone out and gotten Eugenio Suarez, who, by the way, was traded for Alfredo Simon, former Tiger himself. But you go out and do nothing. Nothing changes. I'm seeing a trend here of teams not making adjustments when they need to. But they do nothing at the trade deadline. They mess up the pitching in this game. They deserve to lose that game. Seattle's up 1-0 in the ALCS, and to be honest, I think they're going on to the World Series. So kudos to them. I hope they get their first title. But, it's frustrating to watch ownership continue to not care about that team, to continue to not care about the Red Wings. It's just frustrating to see. Speaking of the Red Wings, then we will conclude with the Lions today. The Red Wings open their season with 2 games. By the way, if you so choose, they play at 2 p.m. this afternoon if you would like to tune in.
That's in 15 minutes.
That is, right after the show. You can tune in if you so choose.
Yeah.
But they got blown out by the Canadiens 5-1 in their first game. Actually had to pull their goalie Gibson out of the net. The goal in that game scored by Larkin, assisted by Sider and Kane. But they turn it around this week against the rival Maple Leafs on Saturday, who they're playing again tonight. 3 assists for DeBrincat, 2 goals for Raymond, a goal and 2 assists for Kane, an assist for Johansson, a goal for Kopp, and then assists for Talbot, Larkin, the rookie, Finney, and goals for Casper and Edvinsson. Cam Talbot starts the game instead of John Gibson, has a much more stable performance there. So it's a TBD on the Red Wings season. I'm not super optimistic, but I'm hoping they can pleasantly surprise me, potentially string a run together. We will see what happens there. Okay, last night's game, Detroit loses 30-17. And I do criticize the refs a lot, but I'm not normally like, this is game-changing stuff. Like, it's frustrating.
There were some missed calls.
There wasn't just some missed calls.
I've seen some replays. There was a Travis Kelce catch.
Yeah,
where the ball touches the ground, he didn't have full control over it.
Which they tried to challenge and they didn't let him. But here's the big one, and it was at the start of the game when Goff caught that touchdown. 2 things to note there. Number 1, that play is non-reviewable. Okay? Terry McCauley, the rules analyst, said that play is non-reviewable. They review it anyway and overturn it.
In regards to a penalty.
Correct. Okay. So you can't penalize the illegal motion. Therefore, it's a legal touchdown because you can't throw a flag after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So even if the play is illegal, the touchdown has to stand.
The flag has to be thrown before
Correct.
the
The
play.
flag has to be thrown before the play or during the play. They didn't review it until after, which they cannot do. They cannot overturn a touchdown for a penalty, which Terry McCauley mentioned. The second really important thing is there is questionable rhetoric behind the rule. McCauley backed up the referee's ruling, but you also have to remember that he is on a television payroll and therefore has to be careful with how he looks at it.
Yep.
Also, I want to mention that the rule was reviewed by Goff and Campbell beforehand. Goff talked about his awareness of the rule and talked about how he was not lined up under center, therefore the motion is a legal play. Also, he stopped next to the center, set, and then moved, which they alleged he did not. He did. And he was not under center. He was slightly to the left of the center, which you can do. It's often where a fullback is standing. So the play should have been legal. Based on a lot of the rules. It's unclear, but even if it's an illegal play, they were not allowed to overturn it via the flag.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you, if Patrick Mahomes scored that touchdown, there would have been no review. I guarantee it.
We can't prove it, but we just know it's true. We just know it's true.
There were the Chiefs, I swear, every single game they play, there's a phantom flag or a phantom no call or something. Especially when they're sitting at 2-3 and 2-4 would have put them on the outside looking in for the playoffs.
You know what it is?
What?
Taylor, Tay.
It was before Taylor's.
I know. I'm teasing everybody.
It's ridiculous that they had 0 penalties called on them. Every controversial play went against the Lions. Multiple no catches were given to the Chiefs.
It's rare for a team to not have a penalty.
But there were phantom DPIs called. The drops were not called. Like a variety of different things. When Goff was trying to talk to the ref to get clarity on that play that they were not supposed to overturn, they were supposed to reset the play clock in order for that to happen. They did not reset the play clock, got a delay of game, knocked them out of potential going for it range. There's a number of things that should not have happened. Were they the better team and probably would have won anyway? Yeah, I'll admit that. Unlike Packers fans who could not admit that when they lost the Browns.
Ooh, which still haven't won any other game since then.
Yeah, but I continue to be frustrated by the officiating. The Lions will be back against the Bucs next week. It's going to be a tough one. It's a must-win game where you fall behind in the division and potentially fall to third place behind the Vikings.
Who do you face again?
Bucs.
Bucs. Okay. Yep, that's going to be a tough game.
That is a must-win game.
Yep. I have Baker Mayfield on my fantasy team for a reason.
Yeah, they're a good team. It's on Monday Night Football. It's a must-win. Because then you play the Vikings, another must-win. Commanders, you got to get revenge. Giants and Eagles. Sorry, Eagles and then Giants. Giants look better. Packers, Cowboys are a gimme. Rams is tough. Steelers is tough. Vikings is tough. And then Bears to close the season. So every game from now on is a must-win.
To stay competitive. Yeah.
Right. So you got to be careful if you're Detroit. Detroit sports are down bad right now, as is really the whole state of Michigan. So hopefully NMU hockey can pick us up.
Mm-hmm.
Also, NMU is on the road in Roosevelt, so it is their best chance to...
So Massey Ratings has once again changed their percentage chances. They because the algorithm does it after every game, after every week. They now believe that we now have a 61% chance of winning.
We don't.
So something happened. They believe that when Roosevelt played against Saginaw Valley, that they did worse than initially thought.
They did.
We did better than initially thought.
We're also us, though.
So,
and I don't.
I want to go to that game, but it's a 6-hour drive. And a
Do
6-hour
you really
drive
want
back.
to watch that team, though?
If somehow we win that game, I want to get some video of the players and coaches post game and send it to my news station. But that would be it would be under my expense, and I don't know if I should do that.
No, I wouldn't. But I want to talk about one more thing, and then we can close the segment.
Well, there is one more thing I want to talk about before we close. We'll go ahead.
Make yours first. Make it quick.
Okay, so in our 2 guest appearances 2 weeks from now, I did talk to Jake Durant a little bit about, some sports stuff going on. And I will give you a hint. I'll give you a little tease. There is going to be some disagreements on how the football program should be run in regards to Shane Richardson. So
interesting. We'll talk about that.
There is a little there's a little bit of disagreement on that. So go right.
A nice sneak peek. Okay. Basketball season is coming up, and I think both of us are much more excited for basketball than football, not only because NMU is better at basketball, but because our respective fan bases in Michigan and Michigan State are basketball schools this year. For whatever reason, when State is good at football, the basketball team sags, and when Michigan is good at football, the basketball team sags.
Yeah.
Very rarely are they both good. So the preseason polls come out this week. Purdue is at number 1. Defending national champions Florida at 3, Houston 2, UConn 4, St. John's 5. Purdue, by the way, was 14th at the end of last year. They move up 13 spots. Duke is 6. I don't hate that top 6 at all, although I think Purdue shouldn't be number 1. I think it should be Florida, Houston, or UConn. I think the defending national champs should be number 1 unless otherwise proven. Michigan is at number 7, which they ended last year at number 10, so I think that's reasonable. They're picked to be second in the Big Ten, which I think is fair. It's an elite team. We brought in the best transfer in the transfer portal and a couple other guys. Dusty May is the real deal. So I'm fine with that. I think that's a fair spot for us. BYU at 8, I like. They got the number 1 recruit. I don't hate it. Kentucky at 9, I'm fine with. Texas Tech at 10, I'm fine with. Louisville moves all the way up to 11 from 21, which I think is a bit of a stretch.
Probably maybe because the recruiting class was better than anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, they had a good recruiting class, but I don't love that. Okay. UCLA at 12, I don't buy it. They're fraudulent every year. I don't like that rank.
Okay.
Arizona at 13 is fine to me. Arkansas at 14 is fine with Pitino. Alabama shoots all the way down to 15, which is fine. Iowa State 16, Illinois 17, no problem. Tennessee 18, they slip 13 spots, which seems a bit harsh to me.
Okay.
Kansas 19, Auburn 20, Gonzaga 21. All those are fine. Auburn shoots down 14 spots or 16 spots, but their coach retired, so it's fine. The second biggest downward movement is your Spartans at 22.
Ooh.
And I think that's fair. I think you overachieved last year with some Izzo Dark Voodoo magic.
It gives us a chip on our shoulder.
And you know what? I root for Michigan State basketball unless you're playing
Dark
us.
Voodoo magic.
I will never root for any other Michigan State program unless they're beating Ohio State. Because Izzo is an alum, I will always try to support.
A special place in your heart.
Right. I'll have a special place in my heart. Unless they're playing the Wolverines, I will always support MSU basketball.
That's fair.
Well, okay. Other than the tournament, because I want us to do better than you in the tournament.
That's fair.
But in the regular season, I'd like you to win. I want Izzo to continue shattering records in the Big Ten, like all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think 22 is fair, though. Your team this year is not as strong. Your recruiting class is weaker than years past. You lost Jace Richardson, your star player. I think that's fair. Creighton at 23 is fine. Wisconsin at 24, I think, is also fine. North Carolina 25th. On the outside looking in is NC State, Oregon, San Diego State, Texas, Ohio State, Kansas State, Mississippi, USC, Missouri, Washington, Vanderbilt, Iowa, Boise, Mississippi State, VCU, Virginia, St. Mary's, Indiana, Oklahoma, and Baylor.
That's a lot looking in.
Yes. Those are all the teams receiving votes. So here's my question to you, and then we can close this segment. Where do you think Michigan and Michigan State will finish in the Big Ten basketball rankings this year?
11 and 12 right next to each other.
You think we're going to be that bad at basketball?
Being number 11 in the country is not bad.
In the country. No, I mean in the Big Ten.
Oh, probably maybe like 1 and 2 or 2 and 3.
Okay, because I believe...
Right next to each other.
I believe you won the regular season conference and we won the tournament.
That sounds about right.
Which I think something similar will probably happen again. I think Purdue is overrated again. But I still think they're going to win the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Just not be the number one team. I think Michigan's going to finish 2. I got Wisconsin, Illinois, and then I think Michigan State in 5. Does that feel reasonable to you?
I think so.
So,
but we also do have to wrap it up. So
well, we got a minute. I think exciting things on the horizon for basketball. I look forward to watching winning teams again. It feels like ages ago when I got to see a winning team.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch. So, yeah, I'm excited. Basketball season coming up.
I think we are. I think it's something to be excited about. That being said, hope everyone has a good rest of the week.
You want some breaking news that just broke now?
Go right ahead.
Titans head coach Brian Callahan is fired.
Ooh.
So the NFL coaching carousel begins today.
Awesome.
And with that,
that is the Jack and Dom Radio Show here on WPX 91.5 FM HD1 Marquette. We will see you again next week.